What's shaking, SBG family? Welcome back. And for those of you who don't know, I'm Seda Brees, and this is Seda Brees Gaming. Today's video is all about Enlisted, so let's get into it. When I'm doing game reviews of FPS games, which are first-person shooter games like Call of Duty, Far Cry, Battlefield, I like to keep in mind 5 categories. First is controls, movement, and tutorials. Now, in my opinion, Enlisted check this box because the first thing you do when you get into the game and you link your account is you actually go through a tutorial, and it's really step-by-step of the movements of pretty much everything you can do aside from the stuff you have to learn with controlling your squad. Now, as you can see, like any game, there are some things that could be better. Like when jumping over fences, you kind of have to look at where you want to go, especially if you want to climb up and over something. You actually have to look and grab, you feel me? Which isn't really hard once you get used to it and keep it in mind. And I also want to remind y'all, this was recorded a while ago, like almost a month and a half ago, you feel me? Because I've just been recording a lot of videos so that I can release a lot of videos to you guys. I also want to mention the few minor issues I saw coming into the game. Like, all of those have been fixed, you feel me? It was mainly just loading time and a few glitches within the game. All of those have been fixed with recent updates, and they keep updates coming consistently, which I really support. The second category I want to talk about is graphics and realism. And the reason I included realism with graphics is because most FPS games that I like to play are more realistic style games, or that's what they advertise to be. And honestly, Enlisted did hit the nail on the head with this. Like, when it comes to clarity, the environment, nature, and the weather, like especially when it comes down to like the elemental factors, like when people, for example, throw fire, you feel me? Yes, the fire can spread. Like, it's actually quite realistic. Here's another clip that's a good example, like, of the weather and environment, and basically just how clear nature and the buildings and everything around you is. And to be honest, like, I love the view through the scopes. Like, I mean, it's simple, but at the same time, it's clear. I rarely hold my breath unless I'm trying to take a long rifle shot. And also something else to factor in, like, this is another clip that was from before I even upgraded any of my guns. So, like, this is literally the first sniper rifle you get. So this next clip is just going to showcase, like, each campaign has different styles of buildings, structures, and environments, including weather. And it showcases some of the action. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is controls, movements, and sensitivity. I know in the beginning of the video I kind of touched base on the tutorial side of it, but this is really in-game action right here. So you can see on the left side of the screen above the map, you have different symbols representing what type of characters you have in battle right now that are on your squad. So the good thing about this is if you get killed, say for instance you run in the building, there's a camper, they kill you off. You have other members of your squad that are wherever you designate them to defend. And some control zones, you can order them to control the zone, or you can order them to defend random points on the map. So if you get killed, you can just switch to that different squad member that's still alive and in battle. And in Enlisted, you also control everybody's loadouts. So before you even get in the game, you can definitely fix everybody's loadouts that's on your squad, like every single character. But this doesn't stop you from inviting friends to play with you. If you invite a friend to join you in the game, they also run with their own squad too, and they control their squad's movements as well as loadouts. And when I say control your squad's movements, you can literally choose your formation if you want to have a close, standard, or wide formation. You can also choose what points they defend. If you want to send them to a point to defend and you run solo through the map, you can do that as well. And then if you get killed, you can choose to go back to your other squad members if they're still alive on the side of the map that, you feel me, you decided to send them to or leave the map. You can also order them to follow you. And one good thing with the updates that come frequently is that recently they just added in an update But your squad members, you can send them to defend the trench, or if you want them to run to a location and there's a trench in the way, they will use the trench as cover or a better means of getting to and from. Next, let's talk about weapons, vehicles, and character customization. Now, each character has specific abilities. Like, for example, this is an engineer. Most people would think it's a mechanic because it's a wrench, but it's an engineer. And their role on the squad is basically to build objects needed in battle. So either a rally point like I'm building here, so for other people to be able to spawn in. You could build sandbag barriers, ammunition boxes, so on and so forth. But let's talk about character customization. You can't really choose outfits in this. Like, when it comes down to like camouflage and uniforms, you can't really do that, you know, like not like on Call of Duty. But I like the fact that it keeps the uniform to the time period and the era that we're playing in, so it makes it a bit more realistic. However, you can earn points where you can change your character's name, their call-out name, as well as their overall look, as in facial appearance, skin color, etc., etc. But you can't specifically choose what you want them to look like. It's kind of randomly generated. Now, let's talk about the weapons. As you can see, they're kind of old school, but they get the job done, okay? Like, they get the job done. You feel me? Like, and if you know what you're doing, you can actually really excel at this game very easily because, I mean, the competition level is there, but at the same time, not a lot of people take time to really assemble their guns how you have the ability to do on there. And I'll go more into detail about that in another video, showing y'all really what I mean when I say assembling guns, because you have the ability to disassemble guns, use those parts to upgrade other guns, and it comes in handy. Now, we also have the standard, you know, grenades and, you feel me, smoke bombs, shit like that. But, you know, when we're talking about older weapons, I mean, these are pretty good, you know, especially when it comes down for that era and time period. It's definitely executed well. As you can see here, as I'm pointing and shooting, I am setting red hit markers, and it's not saying I hit this person. I'm basically setting a marker to mark enemies. Because a lot of times I see when people are playing these games and they're using stationary guns, they're not actually having anybody beside them to mark where they need to hit at. When it comes down to vehicles, you will see people using quite a few tanks and planes. Not a lot of people really know how to fly planes or use them enough to upgrade them so you can fly for long periods of time. But I will say, flying the plane, even though it takes a lot more work to upgrade them, to be able to put in work with the plane, it's still so much easier controls wise. Driving the tank and trying to shoot out of it, but it's just, it takes so much hand-eye coordination, just like so much more than I have. Like, literally, you will rarely see me get any kills with a tank on my channel. Like, I mean, if you do, it will be like a specialty highlight play, like, yeah, confetti and all. Okay, and the last and final category we're going to talk about, I know y'all ready for it, is what's new about this game. What's different about this game that makes it better than other FPS games? Like, that's really what I like to know and think about and review when it comes down to these games. And really thinking about Enlisted when trying to answer that question, the first thing that comes to mind when it comes down to thinking about, you know, what makes this game different, I can honestly say the team aspect when it comes down to each individual player having to think about a team the entire time you play. Because if you don't think about your team, your entire team is going to lose. So you have to think about your squad as you're running, but you also have to think about your team and where everybody's movements are, and really the strategy that it takes to win in this game. Like, even if you're playing the basic capture or demolition game modes, in Enlisted you have to think more about the team, because you're running not only as a solo player, you're running with the squad. And that squad, if they're just running wild and not in a formation, or they're standing up and you're laying down, it can result in your team taking a loss. I know this was a long video, man, but overall I really felt like it was needed because I saw a lot of reviews about Enlisted, but I didn't really see any that showed it the love and appreciation that I could, you feel me? Like, I feel like a lot of people are down in the game basically because it's not as much of a big game as some of the games that we've all known for years. But when it comes down to a new game, like, I love this. I really do. And don't get me wrong, the game's been out for a while, but I'm definitely new to this, and some people watching this, you may be new to this too. So check out Enlisted. It's definitely worth it, and the premium version definitely comes in handy. I'll get into that in another video. Thank y'all for watching.